Welcome to another episode of The Meeting is Dead, Long Live the Meeting, the podcast dedicated to rescuing you from the soul-crushing abyss of pointless meetings. I'm your host, Barrie Bramley, and today, once again, we're diving deep into the trenches of meeting reform. Meetings. Let's talk about meetings. Specifically, how many of them are absolutely, positively, 100% unnecessary. I don't know if you've seen the Harvard Business Review study that says executives spend around 23 hours a week in meetings. It's almost 3 full work days. Back in the 1960s, it was less than 10 hours. What are we doing to ourselves? I do know that meetings are important. In my world, they're made up of 3 things. They bring us together, help us share information, spark creativity, and they get us aligned on the same page. Here's what we're going to do when we leave this meeting. But, and this is a big but, they're also stealing our time. Time we could be using to, actually do the work. Real deliverables, the ones that make money, don't happen in a meeting. They happen after the meeting. So, are there any solutions? Well, here's one that's been really useful for me. It's a framework that involves deciding whether to use synchronous versus asynchronous communication. They are pretty fancy, very large words. When I first heard them, I had to look them up and do a little bit of research, but not difficult to understand. Synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous means it's all happening at the same time. So if you think about in-person meetings, video calls, phone calls, instant messaging, live presentations, with synchronous communication, everyone's there and they're interacting in real time. Asynchronous, on the other hand, it means it's happening independently, so not necessarily at the same time. So the big one, the obvious one, is emails. You also get project management tools like Asana or Trello. There are shared documents, recorded videos, online forums, company intranets. You get the idea. It's communication that doesn't require an immediate response. So, what's the difference? Well, let me give you a couple of differences. One is timing. Synchronous is real time. Asynchronous is delayed. Flexibility. Asynchronous gives you way more flexibility because it's not all happening at once at the same time with everybody. Urgency. Synchronous is better for this urgent stuff. Asynchronous is fine if it's not urgent. And then documentation. As you can imagine, asynchronous leaves a far clearer paper trail of what's been done, what's been said, etc., etc. So here's how I've simplified synchronous versus asynchronous communication for my own meeting sanity. There are 3 points, the 3 things I look at. Number 1, if there's new information that requires immediate team solutions and action changes, then it's important to have a meeting. So new information and the team needs to get together because we need to change some actions, find some solutions, then we need a meeting. If the new information only affects a few people, then only those people need a meeting. We don't have to bring everyone together. And lastly, if the new information doesn't require immediate action, well, then we don't need a meeting. You use asynchronous communication. Send an email, a voice note, a video note, etc., etc. So for me, it's all about the meeting owner. And I must stress this. I do believe it's healthy to have one meeting owner. There may be several people who have got skin in the game or it's really important to them, but there's got to be one responsible person. And it's about that person asking, who needs this information and how much engagement do we need to keep things moving? And then after that, it's, do we need synchronous or asynchronous communication? And then lastly, which channel do we use? If it's synchronous, do we need to get together? Do we do it on Teams or Google Meets or Zoom? And if it's asynchronous, is it an email? Is it a voice note? Etc., etc. So here's an example. Let's say we're nearing a big project deadline and we begin to get conflicting reports about the status of key deliverables. Do we send a bunch of emails and hope for the best? No way. In that scenario, we need a meeting. You've got to clarify in real time to avoid misinterpretations. There's rapid problem solving that probably needs to happen to keep things on track. You might need to resolve conflicts, build consensus with the team, and then I think this is critical. I think we've lost out on some of this, but we need to see people's faces and body language to understand the true situation. You listen to anyone that talks about communication, and body language is the biggest part of how we communicate. And in today's, especially online environment, where we just switch monitors off, or cameras off rather, and we don't get faces and body language, I think we do ourselves a huge disservice in terms of productivity and just finding connection. So in the case that I mentioned above, synchronous meetings, they're essential. Even if you use asynchronous communication for most of the project, critical situations demand real-time interaction. So next time you're about to schedule a meeting, ask yourself, is this really necessary? Or can we handle this asynchronously? Can I use email, a shared document, a quick video? So let's reclaim our time. Let's use meetings for when they truly matter, and use asynchronous communication for everything else. We can be more efficient, more productive, and maybe, just maybe, we can get those 23 hours back. Now there's something worth thinking about. Thank you for listening.